Hey, what's popping? So, before we get started, let me go ahead and put that link right there. And it's about the Kansas City Shuffle. We're going to first read up on it, and I'm going to put the link for it right here so you can see the same definition I'm using for it. Give me one moment, and then we're going to get it popping. That first link is to an old video I did going on 6 years at the end of this year. Uh, Very informative information, and it has a lot to do with the Kansas City Shuffle. Not in its own way, very directly, but just not what I want to talk about in whole. So the Kansas City Shuffle. This is in the Urban Dictionary. There's you can go to Wikipedia and a couple different things to get the similar or same understanding. A type of con, just so that everybody's on the same page. What is a con by definition? A con is to persuade someone to do or believe something, typically by use of deception, to swindle, defraud, cheat, trick, fleece, dupe, deceive, rook. An instance of deceiving or tricking someone. So a con is to be deceived or tricked. A type of con, a type of trickery or deception, which depends on the mark. Might as well go ahead and pull up what a mark is, so that way we're all on the same page. See, when I read these things, I don't do this normally, but today we're going to read as if I'm assuming that people don't know what a mark is. One moment. We're going to read all the definitions, or at least the best ones. It's a boundary of a land, a conspicuous object serving as a guide for travelers, something such as a line, a notch, or a fixed object designed to record position. One of its bits of leather or colored bunting placed on a sounding line at intervals. One second. A target. That's what we're talking about here now. The starting line of a position in the track event. A goal, an object. That's also what we're talking about. An object of attack, ridicule, or abuse. That's also what we're talking about. Specifically, a victim or prospective victim of a swindle. That's exactly what we're talking about. The point under discussion. Condition of being correct or accurate. A standard of performance, quality, or condition. The norm, sign or indication, an impression, a distinguishing trait or quality, a symbol used for identification or indication of ownership, a cross made in place of a signature, capitalized, trademarked, written or printed symbol, postmark, a fine registering point or level reached or achieved. However, the one who's involved in the swindle. So let's go ahead and start this all over so we're all on the same page. A type of con, Kansas City Shuffle, which depends. A con is a what? Is to deceive, right? Or trick someone. A type of trick or deception, which depends on the mark or the target or the person who is sought to being swindled, realizing that they're being conned. So you want them to realize they're being conned, but incorrectly guessing how it's being done. When they try to foil the fake con, they think they've uncovered, they fall into the real con. This con is most effective against marks who are too smart for their own good and will try to beat the con man at his own game instead of backing off when they discover he's trying to con them. So I'm going to explain that latter part in depth about how it relates to Black people. Everyone will probably agree. Even if it's you or I who's done this, what I'm going to talk about, people will still probably agree. And it says it's named after the song by J. Ralph. There are two Kansas cities, and while one is in Kansas, the larger, more well known, is actually just across the river. is actually just across the river in Missouri. Somebody unfamiliar with the region might go to the smaller one when they really wanted to go to the larger one because they made the assumption that Kansas City is obviously in Kansas. This song uses this confusion as an analogy for the way a mark thinks before they're being conned by a Kansas City Shuffle type con. So, if you've ever seen anything, movies or whatever in your life, and you've actually got to see uh, the deception play itself out, like the movie Lucky Number 11 with Bruce Willis. This is where I actually heard of that concept all those years ago as a teenager, and now as a grown man, obviously having my own time to look into these things. Like, is that just make believe? And it's a real thing. It comes from like 1926. The point is this: Black people have been engaged in a Kansas City Shuffle type of con with white folks for so long. Oh, this is deep, isn't it? I went through all that just to say that, huh? Our people have been involved in this Kansas City Shuffle for so long that they don't even realize that they're still being conned. See, what if I were to ask y'all, what what do you gain by those who know that they come from the people who oppressed our ancestors, that they are the progeny of our oppressors, and they willfully accept that their people oppressed our people, their so-called people, yeah? And they willfully accept that you are speaking against that oppression to the even to the degree and to the chagrin that they allow you to go into facilities where you weren't even allowed to do this before. It's the idea, it's the image, it's the con that they're actually progressing with us as a people, that we're actually moving somewhere. But when the same things that were happening to your people long ago are still happening right now to this very day, what has changed? So I'll give you a prime example. Have you ever heard anyone say, we need to go and find out exactly where these people are coming from who are becoming police officers? And then we need to find out like their exact lineage, like there should be like some sort of ancestry check. So people whose families served in the Civil War, who served in the South for the Confederacy, right? Or were some type of known turncoat in the North, anybody like that who was like a Northern sympathizer of the South. There was a lot of those. However, the point being is, do they go out and actually search out these folks' lineage to figure out that, okay, this person actually comes from somebody who legitimately hates black people? For real. Afro people, they hate them. Can't stand them. Can't stand nothing about them. But they have a job that's facilitated over you. Right. Now, the Kansas City Shuffle is that people will say, we need justice. They want you to demand justice. They don't want you to look into say, okay, man, how many of these same officers have people who fought in the Confederacy South? Who think about this? I want y'all to understand. Everybody's not a yesterday immigrant, meaning they just got here. Okay? Everybody's not one of those. Some of these people are, for all intents and purposes, they're they're connected to the turf because their people have been here for hundreds of years and they don't want to hear nothing else about it. Okay, having said that, how many of those individuals were sympathizers, right? Whether they come from somebody who was slain on the battlefield who already had children, or came from a person who lived to tell the tales of the battlefield and eventually would have their own children, would actually sire their own children. Right. Nobody's asking these questions. Nobody's asking that. Now, what's funny or not funny, what's sad is that everybody can look at the white dude who murdered Ahmaud Arbery, and we all know that the McMichaels or whatever their name is, anybody can look at them and know that their people served in the Confederacy during the damn Civil War. Nobody does not know that. But the Kansas City Shuffle, even for that case, was not to get you to look at something like something as deep as that. Wouldn't it be useful to know that some of these cats came out of Appalachia, right? Where they used to fornicate with their own daughters, their own mothers, these type of individuals, and produce children like that. Let's not get carried away and go off into a dark subject, but let's talk about it so that way we can really put our hands on it. Because they've been conning and duping black people to wanting to see all the wrong things for such a long time. That video right there is from almost 6 years ago. At the end of this year, it'll be 6 years. What's funny about that is that in the 5 years' time since I produced that video, the entire conversation about Pan-Africanism has changed. Can't nobody tell me no different. That video right there is a precursor to the things that would come to how we got to where we're at right now. I got all kinds of works like that. Anybody that's been dealing with me for any period of time knows that I have a catalog of works that they don't get any views. You know what I'm saying? YouTube has the channel completely suppressed, as they should. I'm a worthy adversary, so I don't blame them for suppressing. I really don't. It's just sad that they would go out of their way to make it seem as if, or to make me look at myself and be like, damn, how does everybody know about this? But yet, that's right, because they don't have to leave. They don't have to leave a comment. They don't have to do none of that. The same thing I do. Fly on the wall. But back to the points. We got black folks getting duped and confused by things like we need money from individuals who already are showing us that their money is just about worthless. The inflation is through the roof. You got all these different conflicts. Even if there's a so-called great reset and they don't nuke each other, that doesn't matter. Want to know why? Because the money that you get, even if they were to reparate you, is going to be almost completely worthless. This is the point that I'm trying to make. Is that, are y'all seeing the con? They want you to talk about reparations, and they want you to make a number for it. Hell, they want to even start trying to make some kind of payments to y'all eventually. But they know it's not going to be worth a damn. It's not going to be worth a handful of dookie. That's the part. Whether people want to hear that or not, that's the truth. It's not going to be worth a nothing. The Kansas City Shuffle, the deception on the mark, or on he or she that is the target to be swindled, right? We have to remember that they're trying to get us, that once again, you're being conned. That's the part about the Kansas City Shuffle. Right. So we know there's a problem here. We know they're getting over on us. But how we're going about the situation is they're doing something totally different. It's an old school trick. Watch my left hand while the real trick is in my right hand. Watch my right hand while the real trick is in my left hand. Watch both my hands while the real trick is at my feet. You see what I'm saying? Like it's all about how you present your actual deception, the sorcery, the enchantment. Okay, because when you charm someone a certain way, right, which is a part of the con, right, you have to get them to believe a certain thing. So if I allow for you, let's say I'm a white dude and I'm letting you go about your business, about saying how you need reparations. I even say, yeah, you do. Hell, I might even agree that, yeah, y'all need to be reparated. But I'm not about to reparate you. Now, I don't have to say that last part because my actions are going to say that. Right. Now, here's the craziest part. See, the real Kansas City Shuffle is this. They don't want to tell you who you really are. If they have to say you're not really an African, right? See how dangerous that gets? You see how that changes everything? If they tell you that you're actually the people out of a certain bloodline who it was written that you would be treated such this way, and that the way that you've been treated is actually mandated. We're supposed to treat you like this. Maybe some of it is over the top, but we're actually supposed to treat you like dirt, as it's written. What? And we're only following the orders of this guy who told us that we had salvation in the first place, i.e. Paul of Tarsus. That being said, the Kansas City Shuffle have been played so hard on folks that they got people thinking, look, this is how I know that Revelations is fake. The Revelations is part of the Kansas City Shuffle. They got people so ready to accept the Antichrist from that form that they don't realize the Antichrist might already be on the earth with us. With people every day. Might be somebody that we already all know about. How about that? Has that even ever occurred to anybody? There's a couple of individuals out there right now who I could name. I will not name. Who could easily be the Antichrist. But I'll tell you this, he doesn't care for women or for men, only cares for himself. It's a he, not a she. Unless they mistranslated that. It's a he. So having said that, this individual could be here right now. And yet they got people looking for the book of Revelations. Come on, listen to me, y'all. The Kansas City Shuffle is being played on y'all so cold, so vicious. You won't see the signs of the actual true prophets and the prophecies that they prophesied. How could you? They got you looking for something else. You're looking for the book of Revelations. That's how you know it's the con. Because you know that you know that, right. You see how deep this goes? It's not just about the decisions that Black people are making day to day. It's about the bigger picture. Why do they want you to believe that? Right. Why do they want you to go after a worthless reparations? When it's written that even the lame will leave this land with much loot. So why should you take what they have to offer you if what's going to be given to you by the merit, just like you were given up to your enemies, right? Just like we were given up to the heathen to be their servants in this land, to sojourn in this land, to be oppressed in this land for 400 years. Our 400-year mark is not up yet. Sun up, sun down, sun back up initiates a day. I do not want to dispute. There's no dispute about time. If you want to talk about time, you tell me about it in your understanding. But what I know to be the truth is that the sun initiates the day and the sun initiates the next day. Until you get to the next day where the sun is up, where the light comes up, it's not a new day. I don't give a damn what you think or say about it. Having said that, our 400-year odyssey in this land is coming up real soon, and they know it. I picked 500 days so that way I could give people an understanding of what a true 500 days is. It's been over 500 days, or counting days, but it won't be 500 real days until almost April. Think about it. People, it's been almost 2 years. No, it hasn't. It's been well over a year. That's all. That's how you have to do it to show people that I'm looking at the sun and the moon. Can't con me. That's a con man right there. That's a Kansas City Shuffle. Kansas City Shuffle says at 12 o'clock is midnight. At 12:01 it's a new day. That's the Kansas City Shuffle. You think it's a new day because it says 12:01. If you have not been deceived or conned or tricked or fooled into thinking something that is clearly, obviously untrue, I don't know what you've been. Come on. See, I don't need, once again, we don't need co-signers. We don't need cheerleaders around here. Want to know why? Because guess who has to pay the rent, the bills, the whatever for me? This one. So I'm not codependent on people liking what I say. I'm not codependent on saying things that don't ruffle people's feathers. See what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about that. These other cats have to worry about that. They have to worry about making that 10 grand a month off of YouTube, right? So that way they can keep up their opulent lifestyle. I'm not knocking them. I'm not hating on them. I'm just telling people what it is. What is what? The Kansas City Shuffle is okay, sister. That's what I'm saying. They would rather you not see the prophecies. That's what I think it is. So if the book of Revelations, if I'm saying right now, just on based on what I observed, that they're forcing events for people to believe that this book is real, that they're creating an atmosphere that supports what's written there, that means that when the real, true, actual parts of the prophecy play out, people won't even notice it. Right. Who's going to be thinking about uh thus says the Lord, and the broad walls of Babylon shall fall, and its high gates burn in fire, and the people shall toil in fire in vain. Who's going to be thinking about that when the cartel and the Taliban and whoever else rushes the southern border? Who's going to be thinking about that? Nobody. They're going to be thinking about this is Revelations. It's end times. People about to get raptured up. They're going to be thinking about some fake stuff. It's fake. It's fake. It's a Kansas City Shuffle con. And they don't want to hear me talk about the Kansas City Shuffle because they understand that they've been conned. They've been duped. They don't want to hear that. What do I really think it is? What I think it is that a whole bunch of people they want it to be their way. They want salvation on their terms. That's what I think it is. I can't prove it, but if I had to base it on how they act and how they distinguish themselves among the Gentiles, which makes them indistinguishable from the heathen, I would have to say, sister, that I believe personally that they want salvation on their terms. It's just my opinion. I can't prove it. I don't know that to be the truth. But I do know this much. Black people have been conned into believing that they can go after this thing called reparations and that they don't need their God. See, that's the part. That's the con, sister, is that to get me or you to believe that we can get what's owed to us without he who put us here in the first place is ridiculous. It's a backwards concept, notion, and thought altogether, and they know it. I don't mind saying it like this because I know that nobody, you know, nobody tries to. Nobody wants to deliver the message like this, right? Oh no, right on, sister. No, because that's where we're at. But these people don't want to have the message like actually delivered to them like this. They don't want to have to. So, for example, I don't sit behind the computer screen with the screen up. You can never see me, and then I'm trying to dog walk people with my mouth. That's not what's popping with me. I'd rather people see what I look like, know that I'm truly actually a brother. I'm not a half breed. I'm not an octoroon. I'm not a quadroon. I ain't no tesseroon, right? I just ain't no I ain't no white dude who been raised around a whole bunch of niggas and I talk like a certain way. So you guys think I'm that, but you can't see me on the screen. Right. I this is who you're dealing with. And that's important. There is no Kansas City Shuffle dealing with me. There is no con. There is no deception. I'm straight down the middle. When I say Middle Earth, I mean Middle Earth. I don't mean anything else. When I say the earth has four corners, I don't mean anything else. When I say 364 degrees is closer to 300 and so-called 65 days than 360 degrees is. So which one is the fullest of the concept? Come on. I mean that. I'm not saying that to toot my own horn or to put myself up on a cloud. I'm saying it so that way people understand this is how my mind sees the information. The book of Revelation says a whole bunch of things, but nobody's asking themselves, okay, when did this dude who got his head chopped off? Kansas City Shuffle right there. There's so many Kansas City Shuffles. There's so much cons. There's so much deception and trickery. There's so many different marks. There's so many different intended targets that we never actually get to see who's at the bottom of what. But I know who's laughing their ass off, like I told you. Big, tall black people who live in caves in the Middle East, laughing their ass off. Ain't never cut their beard down to their fucking knees or something. Right. Can't, every time I think about it, I can't stand them. Because I just know it's the truth. And people are like, they're not called, they're not pulling they are pulling the strings. When the Pope takes any of those trips to the Middle East, who you think he's really going to go see? But his masters, huh? Anyway, the whole point is this: is that the deception is so true, the deception is so real that people believe that they're going to save themselves, even though you didn't put yourself here willfully. I need you to understand this. The docility of the Afro man and Afro woman is so powerful and so profound that they allowed a group of individuals who, for all intents and purposes, we were strangers to sell us to another group of strangers. And some of them actually knew who we were, i.e., the black Grecians that were among us, who sold us to the heathen. Right. How do you think we got here in the first place? No? Who do you think I told you was on those boats with these dudes? How do you think they were able to quell so many of those mutinies? A mutiny is an uprising or a rebellion on a ship. How do you think we were able to do that? Not we, but they, us, to do that to us. Right. We do that by this. We make it to where somebody you're familiar with is here with you. Individuals who you've never seen before, didn't even know existed, are also around you. But they're all listening to this one dude or these couple of dudes. All of them taking orders from them. You can't have something. You can't have something with nothing. That's not how it works. You can't have a society built upon Grecian and Roman tenets and not have Grecian or Roman occupants or participants. It's impossible. It is literally impossible. And we're talking about 400 years ago, y'all. People who literally truly speak those languages still. If y'all don't believe me, why does the Most High God tell us that we will sell the Grecians to our enemies, right? As they sold us. Why would he tell us that? That right. Right now, to this day, in this very country, some of the black people that you see, some of the Afro people that you deal with are actually Grecians. They're actually black Greeks. We're not talking about, when I say black Greeks, I'm talking about the real ones, not these fake ones that they've imposed on you through sorcery and witchcraft and enchantments. There are no special effects when you see me. This is me, y'all. Okay? I'm not imposing on you my vision of history through other images. I have videos where I use those same sorceries, those same enchantments, those same ways of charming to try to expound certain points. While I'm telling people all throughout the process, I'm using a witchcraft to talk to you. I'm using a piece of sorcery to do what I do. I willfully say this so you understand that part. There is no con here. There is no Kansas City shuffle. The other individuals who would have you to believe that you can save yourselves, those who are of a aboriginal indigenous foundation to this land, those whom I have talked about for years now. Now you got people talking about phenotypes and genotypes, alleles and the likes, organelles and everything all over the place. They didn't know what none of this stuff was years ago. None of those things. They had no concept of it. I introduced it to them. I used knowledge from a whole bunch of different sources and individuals to come up and pretty much say, this is how I see it. The way I see it, they've taken it and they've gotten paid off of it, as opposed to playing the hand the right way. They've delivered our people up. And some of these folks who were truly indigenous to this land have delivered up our people. They want them to believe that since you have blood ties to this land, you are owed reparations for that alone. But the people who were brought here are the reason why this land is known for what it's known for. These same individuals used to bloviate and extol the greatness of a land called Kemet, the same land that these same individuals, before they were sold to this land, had built up. Places like Timbuktu had become a thing, a learning center for the entire earth. Even the Mongols and all the great Khan empires, all those guys would come to Timbuktu to be taught by who? Black scholars, Afro scholars. They don't understand that. There was none of that greatness in this land. Whatever was here that was destroyed was replaced by the genius of the individuals that they brought here to do all the work, because the people who were here were not going to do what? They were not going to allow themselves to be made slaves. See, these problems, once again, the Kansas City Shuffle got all y'all thinking that you're the same, but you know deep down you're different than some of these folks. When y'all communicate, they treat you differently. They treat you with a cold shoulder. They treat you like you ain't shit, like you're not me. And you might look hella similar to them. And they might treat you funny. That's how it goes. You got other ones who don't look nothing like you, who are have totally ingratiated themselves into who you are. They're like, I want to be like you. I want to do what you do, because what you do seems like it's applicable and is feasible to the lifestyle that I seek to live. See, because if the Aboriginals understood it, if the indigenous understood it, they didn't worship the Most High God. They are and were heathens. Both my hands to God, and my right hand especially to the Most High God. I say that soundly. They come from a heathen bloodline, and they were blessed to be put in the presence of the people of the Most High God. They were blessed to be around us and to be considered us, even though they are not us. Kansas City Shuffle, deception at its finest. And those individuals would have you to believe that you need to stay here and fight for their land. This ain't my land. I'm not from here. My people from somewhere else, and they ain't even from Africa. We ain't been home for literally like 2,000 years. I'm ready to go home. Forget this place. And forget Africa. Forget Kemet too. Take me home. Wash the land with blood and take me home. That's how I feel. Once again, no deception. I'm straight down the middle. They don't like me because I'm straight up. And they don't like me because I can feel things. They ain't never seen nobody cry out no at the top of their lungs while somebody's bleeding from the side of their head. Shit ain't no fucking movie. They ain't had to witness that and be like, yeah, man, it's time for me to get about this land. It's time for me to go. It's not like being a child and seeing somebody get killed. It's different when you're younger and you just don't understand what really just happened. It's way different when you're grown and you're like, they're out of here. Kansas City Shuffle, they got us thinking that it's us killing us. But it's not us killing us. It's folks from different bloodlines killing us. They owe us too. Them dirty black bastards owe us reparations too. Fuck that. When I say the whole earth owes my people, they owe us. I ain't Moses. I ain't Aaron. I ain't nobody. I ain't none of those. I'm just Demetrius. That's who I am. I'm gonna hold it down for me and mine while I'm here. And if I don't ever get to doing what I truly believe that I should be doing, which is a tour in the South, going around and doing nice works for really poor black people and trying to give them some hope and some encouragement so that way they can endure until the end. Brother Wickham was talking to me about, some ventures that we should really look into, and I'm going to start to do the research to figure out how I can best suit and tailor to that that initiative and that plan. However, I'm straight down the middle with y'all. There's no need for me to try to deceive you. There is no need for me to say, hey, look, all we need to do is band together. No, look, check this out. Black people have banded together many a different times in history. Okay? Many a different time. You don't have race riots unless all the black people are all on the same page. Right. Where they're like, fuck it. I know this guy really ain't my people, but he understands that what just happened. You know what I'm saying? They they don't get it, sister. They don't understand. I appreciate that. I really do. Don't worry. I got to make my rounds. I just got to get this court stuff out the way. I'll know what's going on at the end of this month, and then I can try to plan to get my stand off the ground, get my father in charge of that, possibly incorporate my brother, get a small revenue cash flow rolling, so that way if I hit the road, I can have my own little gig on the road, but also have a gig here in Washington. So I'm guaranteed to get a couple bucks every week that'll hold me off and hold me down. But still, the point is this. They have Kansas City shuffled our people into oblivion. They have. They've they have deceived. They have literally the Kansas City shuffle. Once again, let me remind everybody when they get here, it is a form of deception where you pretty much deceive the con into knowing that they're being conned. They're looking for the con, which is a fake con, so you can put them into the real situation, the real actual deception you want them to fall for. I'll give you a prime example. What's it called? The Color Game, something like that. It's with Gene Wilder, and I want to say Louis Gossett. Is it Gene Wilder? No, who's that white dude in that movie, man? I'm pretty sure it's Louis Gossett, and it's a white dude in the movie. And anyway, what they do is they go into these different plantations, right? And bro acts like he's trying to sell my dude as a slave, right? He sells him, then he helps my man's escape, and they go to another plantation and do this shit again. So it's like that. I have you believing that I'm here to sell a slave, right? Boom. You identify that I'm here to sell a slave, right? Bang. But then what you don't realize is that I'm actually working with this dude. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the con. You might not trust me outright, just like with Django and Django, where they go to the different plantations and they act like he's trying to buy a black chick when they finally get to the dude's property. And Django gets to going out there and he finds out where those three brothers are at. He lays two of them out, and then Dr. King Schultz lays out the other one. It's like that. I have you believing I'm here to purchase a nigga gal, right? But really, I'm here for some scalps. Can you dig it? Right. That's like what Homeboy said in the movie. I don't know if y'all remember the part where he's like, "Who are you two jokers?" Right. A joker was a con man. Believe that. Believe that. A joker was a con man. And if y'all ever get out to the Northwest while I'm still here, y'all always look. I might not seem like it, you know what I'm saying, but I have ways to help people get by. But the blessings that I get, you know what I'm saying, are like, practical ones, I guess. And still, like I'm saying, that's the Kansas City Shuffle. I don't want to mix too much stuff up and confuse nobody. The Kansas City Shuffle plays out just like that. Because people don't know. And I can't think of the name of the movie, like I said, but I know for a fact it's a white dude and a brother, and they're going around and he's selling the brother into slavery and he's helping them escape. And eventually they get caught up, right? And they almost get killed and stuff like that. But it's those type of situations. It's those type of things that happen and that take place where you have to realize that they want you to think a certain way. They want you to get comfortable. They want you to think. This is why, you have to treat people with like, you have to know what somebody is up to. Like, okay, if they're trying to con me, I can't be looking for the obvious signs of what they're trying to do. I have to actually watch, wait, and look and see what they're doing so that way I know, like, okay. Because if it's a big, intricate plan, the best way to end the con is to get rid of the con man, not to back out the con. That's deep, ain't it? See, once again, they don't want to hear me talk about no vengeance. But vengeance is what? A prelude to justice. Don't never forget that, y'all. I had an individual that I work with tell me that he believes that justice is just another word for revenge, but it's not. Justice is a consequence of a set of actions that were mandate, right? That were obligatory to be followed through, so that way there could be a true healing. There is no healing. Let me say it like this: a rape victim does not get healed by somebody walking free and having to pay a fine and take some sensitivity classes. That's not justice. I would bet to say most women that are raped would want that man dead. I'm not saying every single one, but I'm not going to muddy the water here. I'm going to say like over 90% of women who get raped would want the man dead. Over 90%. Y'all pick what number in the 90s. And if you want to say 100%, say 100. I have no issue with that. I have no qualm with that. You got to understand, if they make you to believe that you can save yourself in this land, you are not going to do what is mandate for justice. First, you have to, first and foremost, let me remind everybody, you don't need anyone's permission to defend yourself. You don't. You don't need my permission. God's not like, get on your knees and pray before you get into a fight. Okay? That's not what he asked you to do. That's not mandate for defending this. You better defend yourself. There won't be no praying to be done if you get killed. How hard is that? How hard is it to get killed? Not very hard. So, with the degree of difficulty being sometimes at the lowest level, I think that people need to recognize that. Get out of what it is that has made you comfortable. Your ability to turn on a heater and warm up your feet has changed how you see things. Man, what's popping, bro? My hitter. Long time. Long, long time no talk. But no, for real, black people, man, like y'all gotta get out your feelings, man. You know, about being comfortable in this land. Just because you can turn on that air conditioner, just because you can go make yourself some ice, just because you can go turn on that stove and heat something up, that oven and heat something up. Like you got it, or if microwave, if that's how people are getting down, whatever they're doing, right? These conveniences that they're used is if it's really a convenience, right? If it's not just a witchcraft and a sorcery to keep us from being engaged and truly appreciative of all the gifts that God gives us, of the Most High God, whatever they want to call him. I have no name for him, right? He said his name has been profaned. So there's no way I can call him a name comfortably. But having said that, once again, get out those feelings. All these little things I do, drinking and smoking, those are comfort things. Right. Just like a heater. It's only because I can do that. But if I can't do that, guess what? I'll be just fine. I promise to God I function just the same. I'll be okay. Right on. I won't be grumpier or anything like that. My normal self in my sober mind, I always seemed like I was grumpy to people growing up, unless I had a cheerful disposition. But people always ask me, "What's wrong?" Because of my face. Even though I wouldn't even be angry or I wouldn't be upset, they would just always ask me, "What's wrong?" It's been like that my whole life, so I don't worry about it. That being said, Black people got to get not unused to what they have, but they have to know that those are things that we were given in this land to enjoy. So that way we wouldn't seek to be truly taken up out of this land. Some people are really comfortable in America. Some people like driving cars around. Some people really actually like, I hate driving. I hate it with a passion because it's so unnatural. It's so unnormal. There's really, you have almost no control of the vehicle realistically, to the point that if there's a mechanical failure, it's not your fault unless it's something that you neglected. But if it's not something that you neglected and you regularly have your vehicle maintenance and you do all the right things and something unfortunate and dire and tragic still happens, right? That's bullshit. That's complete utter bullshit. It's not like an oxen or a horse or a mule or an ass that literally you can look at its body and inspect it and know if he or she is healthy. You know, it's different. It's a whole nother concept. And Black people don't see it like that. They see it as like, I got to get from point A to point B, and it's like, I hear that, but at what cost is point A to point B? Like, at how much is salvation worth to everybody? You know what I'm saying? Is salvation worth knowing that they were a millionaire while they lived and then they died broke? Is salvation worth knowing that they were a millionaire, a multimillionaire, a billionaire while they lived, and yet there was all these poor people who suffered, who worked way harder than them every day, right? Like, is is salvation worth giving up on yourself and doing things that you're not supposed to do? And that's a plethora that covers any and everything. So use your imagination. Is that worth your salvation? Is that worth the everybody dies? That's the part that I'm I'm okay with my fate. I'm not okay with people not understanding that if this is not it and you've lived a certain way on this earth, how can that not translate into the next thing? It has to. It must. It must. That's why I said earlier that the money is worthless. What good is the money if you don't use it? Has no value to it. If you're saving for something, that's one thing. There's a goal in mind, an intended goal. But even what you're saving for, will that take away from your salvation? Right. People don't ask themselves these questions because they don't care. As long as they can pay rent, pay mortgage, right? Pay their property taxes, as long as they can afford to pay for their expenses and provide for all of their needs and most of their wants, if not all of their wants and desires, they don't really care. They have no concept. Therefore, the Kansas City Shuffle plays harder on them. Right. How can you trust somebody who doesn't understand that Mongols invaded all of what you call so-called Europe and Asia and certain parts of Africa? Huh? How can you trust somebody who really does not know that and wants to do business with those individuals who would see your whole bloodline wiped out? Can't trust somebody like that. But once again, when they're of this land, indigenous aboriginal to this land. See, once again, do I get credit for actually introducing that concept to the people? No. But you better know that Tariq Nasheed and all of them, they all know what's popping. They know who was, I was saying, popping way back before these. Anyway, I gave these niggas actual revenue streams, things that I could have got paid for. I could have had people to pay. I could have started my channel up and with the intent of getting paid. That was never the intent or the purpose. It's hoping to reach out to a select few of the people who actually have a desire to want to see something real happen in their life. More so than the Gentiles want to see it, we want to see it. We got to see the power. I want to see the power. As scary as that is, I still would like to see it from a distance, from a view. But still, I want to see the power. I got to see it while I'm here, while I yet live. I don't want to die and come back. I want to see it now. And there's a whole lot of black people. There's a whole lot of Afro people. There's a whole lot of folks who think they're the same, who are not the same, who have come to that similar conclusion. See, it takes being around somebody righteous to do the right thing. You can't do the right thing and been around nobody righteous. That's impossible. Otherwise, any nation in the earth would have been called. The Most High God could have called the Romans, the Greeks. He could have called the Assyrians. He could have called this. He could have called whoever he wanted. There was a righteousness in not only Abraham, but in his father. You could argue that there was a righteousness in Abraham's brother Nachor, who the Most High God is mentioned to being his God. Because it says, may the God of Abraham and of Nachor, or Nachor and Abraham, however it's ordered. But it doesn't say the gods. There's no plural, right? So meaning that Abraham and Nachor worship the same God. Whether the children of Nachor did that, whole total different subject. But I know that the people who are here right now did what they had to do. You come from a righteous person. The true seed of Abraham come from a righteous man. He was a righteous man. Did he know everything? No. But just because you don't know everything doesn't mean that you can't be taught to do better. Did he tell Abraham? Did the Most High God put Abraham down for having his wife, who was his sister? Did he put him down for that? No. He corrected that whole sort of thinking, that whole sort of way of being, by making laws to where you can't do that anymore. There's no need to do that. There's more than enough of us that you don't have to lay down with your own sister to have blood continuity. Wow. To maintain gene continuity, to maintain bloodline purity, right? To maintain bloodline integrity. That's what I'm trying to say. And once again, the Kansas City Shuffle has been played on so many of us that they think that just because they have brown skin and slightly curly hair, that's got to be us. A little bit of facial hair. Then they have to grow a full beard. And these females don't care who they lay up with. These dudes don't go and investigate what this female's family looks like. He don't care. Right on. He just thinks she's bad. He don't care. So he don't know if her people are bearded or not. This is the truth. Right. Some of these females like getting with the dude who don't have no facial hair. Because they think that a man who grows a beard, they don't like that. They don't like how a beard feels on their face. All that nonsense. Nonsense. But then when they're not, but then they be hating on the brother. Right on. Let me just throw my hands up. Because that's how it is. You know, there's a whole bunch of that going on. And I'm not here. Once again, that's not my place to judge them or to say anything in particular about that. It's just, why is there what's the word I'm looking for? Why is there like a general acceptance that individuals who may have tried to wipe you out just a couple hundred years ago were unsuccessful, and then they too were eventually enslaved with you? Why does people not look at it like that? Right. The black Seminole Indians are failures. The Red Maroons are failures. Want to know why? Because you still need reparations. If you need anything right now today, if you are talking about oppression right now today, no one was a success. Save for George Carver, the only success. Lewis Latimer, not so much of a success. Anytime white folks punk you for all your inventions, right? And you were trying to get paid, it's not a success. George Carver learned from all of them and knew that he would never get paid. So he never tried to get paid. That's why George Carver's a cult, man. Once again, a prophet in the flesh, if y'all never seen one. Whatever his sins were, may the Most High God cover them all up, and may he be forgiven. George Carver, the greatest American hero. Let me say that again. The greatest American hero. This side of Moses, there hasn't been one like him. Not even I. People don't know. I'm not worshiping the man. I'm just speaking to what he done. It would be no different than someone speaking and talking about what Moses did. Whether for George Carver, most of us would have starved. If you live in the South and your people are from the South, without George Carver, no doubt your people starved. Starved to death. That was a good man, a great man, an excellent man, a righteous man. Perfect in his own generation, by my account and accord, based on what he grew up with. Y'all do realize he lived during Jim Crow, right? Y'all do realize that to be considered the plant doctor at the tender age of like 6, the plant doctor, he had divine wisdom. He had, when I say divine wisdom, he had divine wisdom. And I'm here to represent for the people. That's why I'm here to say what I say. Because the other individuals won't say that George Carver's the best of the best. He's better than Ivan Van Sertima. He's better than Dr. John Henrik Clark. Okay, he's better than all of them. Fraud Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson. He's better than him too. He's better than all them. Martin Luther King, and none of them. Nobody. Malcolm X. Nobody has nothing on him. Okay, Medgar Evers. No one. Okay, Fred Hampton. Nobody is touching George Carver. He's that guy. He's a true saint. And they won't even call him that. I mean, think about that. Think about that. This man literally, Kansas City Shuffle right there. One of the greatest people to ever live in the last, who knows, we can just say 200 years because he was born in the 1860s. He's greater than all of them combined. He's greater than all of them combined. He was a single-handed genius and brain behind so many different things during World War One. The man deserved every medal, everything that you can be awarded as a person in this society. He deserved every single one of them. And guess what George Carver got for all of his due penance? Nothing. Y'all do realize when Booker T recruited him, let me remind you, he took that job for less money to help black people. This is how, I don't know if y'all understand, man. His heart was so righteous. Remember, he invented all those things with peanuts because people grew all those peanuts and it had began to become rank in some places, smelling real bad, right? So he had to hit the lab, came back with a bunch of different things you could do with peanuts. Come on, man. That wasn't on purpose. That was because he was trying to show black people how to plant something and how to have a little something to eat. Right. Peanuts did what? They were the easiest to grow and they had the highest yield of nitrogen based on the ease to grow the peanuts compared to soy, sweet potatoes, and something else. There's another one. I just can't think. Right on. But still, don't worry about all that. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to just talk about the fact that the Kansas City Shuffle has been played on everybody. They don't want you to see how epically amazing that man is. They'll talk about Dr. King and freedom and this, that, and the other. But Dr. King ate the sweet potatoes and the yams that this man showed people how to grow. He showed folks how to rotate their crops, how to make more money through each season and every season. So one season I'm gonna have this, the next season I'm gonna have that, or I'm gonna have a small plot of this here, a small plot of this there. Right. Without him, the Dust Bowl would have been on the entire United States. We starved to death, no doubt. Maybe a couple of us would be alive. Let's just be real. That's how real life that is. Right. Because cotton was grown all over the United States. Cotton has stripped the soil of all of its nitrogen. They don't talk about that when they talk about the Dust Bowl for some odd reason. That slavery led to the Dust Bowl. That's how smart these individuals are that you've been around. That's how intelligent, wise, and full of understanding they are. That it took a man who would have been, in all intents and purposes, without the Civil War, would have been a slave his whole life and would have never been able to show the United States what they had done. Imagine if the South had won the war. Whoa, this is deep, ain't it? Imagine if they had won the war. Do y'all understand what happens? Okay, then. Kansas City Shuffle got y'all thinking that they did something because they put it on a movie. You believe they had markets and food to sell to one another. These same individuals would tell you that they left all those lands all those years ago because of famine and the lack thereof. Only certain places had enough food, and those food was procured for oligarchs and the like. Man, anyway, let me not get too carried away, but let's talk about it. They got everybody confused and duped. Black people want to think that this shit is it's a happenstance. This could have happened to anyone. Okay, well, why didn't it? Out of all the groups that have been enslaved, why didn't none of them do what we did? Ask yourself that. I mean, literally think about that. Why not? Why was there a learning center for the entire earth in a place that the same people who were brought here were just at? Why did that learning center fall down to nothing? If those people who were there before were sold off for less than the price of a horse, because there were so many of them, think about that. They sold your people for wine and white women. Are y'all hearing me? And white dudes too, because you know some of them little Gentile Africans is gay as fuck. They act like they don't practice none of that now because the religions have taken over those lands. But they produce those weirdo fruit boys too. Them little sweet boys. Yes, they produce them. Sold you for nothing. For chicken scratch. Oh, gotta wake up, people. You gotta see it some kind of way where it is a negative impact upon you. No matter how great George Carver was, look how they did him. That's how they felt about him. Okay? Die, nigga. And die broke. And die poor. Die knowing that it's going to be brothers who are literally in obscurity who speak upon you. Because these white folks ain't. We ain't got nothing good to say about you. Nothing. Think about that. After all he done for him. How was he not a national hero? Kansas City Shuffle, I'm trying to tell you. They want you to look at things a certain way while the real con is being played on you. You're not going to talk about a guy like him because he didn't shoot and kill nobody. But you eat every day. How many of you go outside? Be real with me. How many of y'all go outside and bust your gun every day? But happy all quick to want to show off the strap to somebody. Right. But you eat every day. And you eat things that he showed them how to grow. For all of y'all who are vegans out there who only eat soy, who do you think showed the Americans and the Chinese and all these other people how to grow soy? Right. So I don't need nobody to show me nothing. Because if he did it, guess what that means? I can figure it. I don't have to be as good as him. I just have to figure it out. Right. He could have been the greatest cultivator the earth has ever seen this side of Adam. Okay. I'm serious. This side of Cain or something. Like he would have been the coldest cultivator ever. They just didn't let him do that. The hate was so real for us back then that they couldn't stand the idea that he knew that much and that they didn't know it. They thought just by look, just like they'll watch you do your work, they think just by watching you and looking at you and observing you do it, that they can do it too. They think it's so easy. People think it's so easy. You know, I cook all the time. I cook most of my own food. Most of the food I eat, I cook myself. Like 90% of it, 95% of it. So I know what I'm talking about. Right now in my kitchen, I have a sweet potato and a yam. I'm either gonna make a sweet potato pie, right? Or I'm gonna which I'm gonna use the yam and the sweet potato, obviously. Or I'm gonna do like some kind of other little dish. But the point is this. Every time I buy a yam or a sweet potato, I think about George Carver. Every time I get ready to go grocery shopping, I think about that man. I bless him because he's blessed. He blessed us all. Greatest American hero, y'all. And he's been given a Kansas City Shuffle hand. The people have been duped and deceived into seeing something that is not even real. Your reparations given to you by the same enemies who were ordained by your God to take you, they cannot give to you. And if they wanted to give to you, they could have gave it to you a long time ago. Have they done that? No, they have not. So that tells you what about your reparations? That it's a low priority and they don't care and that you're not important. That's the truth. They don't care about you and that you're not important. I know a lot of folks want it to be different than that, but that's the facts. For everybody who donated, I'm not saying that anybody here did, and for everybody who donated to the Hidden History Museum, I pray that those black people have the chance to go out to LA sometime soon. I I, I really do believe if they all just coordinated with their leader Tariq, whatever his real name is, right? But if they just coordinated with him maybe like 10,000 of them go out there and just sign a petition, however many signatures he needs, and say these are all my donors. They all donated. They need. We're trying to get this area right here, and then let's actually see him make it happen. Because when you get $1 million from the people, if you're not going to go around and start a bunch of community gardens everywhere in the worst neighborhoods, right, where these niggas is so hood they don't believe in shit like that, but now they got one in their hood and they're like, whoa, fresh tomatoes and fresh onions and fresh potatoes and tomatoes, onions, potatoes, carrots and peas and corn. That ain't that bad, and it's for the right price because we grow it. Ah, right. We gonna take care of it. That's simple and plain. But they don't even have nothing like that to look forward to. Once again, the Kansas City Shuffle is to have them to go to the city council people as opposed to saying, you know what, we're going to stop selling dope to one another and we're going to go buy a bunch of vegetable seeds and we're going to thug it out. We claim we thugs, nigga. We about to thug this shit out, nigga. How about that? We're going to really thug it out. We're going to really struggle to survive in this bitch for a little bit. And we're going to show the government, like, nigga, this is the kind of grit that we got, nigga. Okay? I got that old school slave grit inside of me, homie. That runaway slave grit, that I ain't ate nothing in 2 weeks kind of grit, nigga. Anything will do. That's the whole point, bro. That's what I'm saying. They don't got that kind of grit, bro. They don't, they're not built like that, like you said. They don't do nothing but take the money and do nothing. You know, man, I'm just tired of all of this. You know what I'm saying, family? I'm just tired of all this stuff. It's really a sad sight, shit. And you man, shit, man. Y'all big brother, big sister to me, man. I'm just a lowly servant with his message. I got my little soapbox, right? I'm sitting on my soapbox right here, right? And I'm just trying to just deliver the message. Hear ye style. So that way people understand it's about more than just what we say it's about all the time. Every day it's about more than that. And we should be able to express what it's about without everyone getting all up in arms and getting bent out of shape and trying to tell us what we don't know. You know, anybody who ain't never been to somebody's house where I'm talking about black people, man, I grew up. It's one of the craziest things I think I ever seen, right? A lot of people ain't never met nobody who got killed. Like they say, everybody knows somebody who got killed and stuff like that. But unless you're from a certain era in life or from a certain area, it's not true for everybody. But I remember when I was 8 years old, and uh, my man Mario, he had got killed literally right up the street from where we live. He got shot 8 times. And I remember his mother. And I never knew that Mario was the elder brother to my dude Day Day, right? And so his mother comes up the street in her car and she's like, yeah, I gotta go bury my son. And Day Day goes up to the car. He's like, hey, mama. She's like, what you doing out here, boy? He's like, I'm playing with my friends. He's like, well, go back and play. And she waved at us and we waved at her. And I was like, that's your mom? He's like, yeah. And I was fucked up because I never knew because my mom knew his mom, right? And she would come down and play cards and they would drink and smoke and all that stuff. They, smoking cigarettes, drinking beers and all that stuff. And playing dominoes and cards and whatever they do as grown women and conversating. I never knew, right? And my man's guy's killed, and they shot him 8 times, and I had never seen that sort of thing before. Like how like they show it in movies where like the mother's about to go bury her own child, and like she's so done. She done cried so much she can't cry no more. You can just see like she's just burnt out. Like it was like, and as a grown man, when you can think back on things like that and be like, man, I seen a lot of crazy stuff. I just didn't recognize how crazy it was. I lived through a lot of things that I didn't recognize how dangerous the situations were as a child. And as a grown man now, I'm like, and these niggas ain't did nothing. No community gardens, no nothing. There's nothing to look forward to. And these same hood niggas will talk about the Black Panthers and will talk about, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and they're backwards. They're backwards. These guys literally run around trying to sleep with somebody else's female all day. These guys literally run around looking for somebody who's unarmed, right, and unaware of the threat that they pose to them all day. These guys literally run around looking for people who they can deceive, who they can Kansas City shuffle into doing drugs all day. So what they'll do is they'll say, yeah, bro, I'm going to roll some weed up, right? And the guy might be like, well, man, I just don't want to be too high before class. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. And the nigga might put some cocaine on the blunt, right? And roll himself a primo. And this nigga don't know he been smoking a primo all day. And he's like, man, I'm high. I'm higher than I ever been. And he's like, bro, what was in that blunt? And cuz is like, oh, man, nothing. That's just some regular chronic. And cuz is like, I don't know, because I've been smoking regular weed and I just ain't been getting as high. And he's like, oh, man, you know what you need to do then? You need to put some of this on your blunt. And dude might not realize, like, oh, this is what he put on it. Right on. It won't even recollect to him. And before he knows it, he's not smoking primos, he's smoking full blown all out crack. Right. See, this is how that goes. And these individuals are not held to any kind of account. Nobody says anything to them. Nobody does anything about them. Nothing. People are like, you're not doing anything. I'm like, I'm not on the tour. Were? And plus, I would just get arrested anyway, or get killed, or both. Arrested, then killed, or not killed, then arrested. You get what I'm saying? Once you're dead, you're dead. So, when people are like, oh, you think you would just die like that? I'm like, no, it's just when you're in custody, if so many people overwhelm you, I mean, like, how many individuals do you think you can take before somebody can hold down your arms successfully and somebody else hold down your legs and then somebody else just, pretty much beat your head in? Like, it doesn't, like, the math is pretty simple. It only takes so many individuals to overwhelm you. So, you know what I mean? You gotta be judicious about those types of decisions, especially if you're going to be in a place where you're not from and killing people who these individuals might know. Like, your brain has to function way better than that. This ain't a fucking movie. Excuse my language, but it's not a movie. This is not a motion picture. This is not a flick. So the consequences are real. The repercussions are real. And what you pay for is real. And if you pay for it in blood, you're going to know that you paid for it in blood. And there ain't going to be no second thoughts. There ain't going to be no questions to it. And that's what Black people have to accept. I accept it. I hope that y'all accept it. And as I get ready to, to roll out the next 10, 15 minutes, I just got to just break this part down again. They have sold Black people on the idea of getting reparations. They have sold Black people on this idea that if you have any kind of faith that the book of Revelation is going to take place, they have sold Black people on this idea that you can save yourself, right? And everything you do, don't worry, it'll be forgiven anyway. Like, it's the craziest stuff I ever heard. Only the last book matters to most of these niggas. Like, if you ask 99% of people who go to church, like, what's their favorite book in the Bible, most of them will tell you Revelations. Because they'd be like, everything is in that book is happening now. But they couldn't tell you but these same niggas who say that, they couldn't tell you. It's like, show me where Philadelphia is at then. Right on? Not the one that's here in the United States that's called Philadelphia. Not that one. No, 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 no. Show me the real Philadelphia in the Bible. Right. I think it's called Lystria or something like that. Show me that place. Right? Show me all these places where these angels is going, since you know so much. Right? These motherfuckers is retarded, man. Like they're literally mentally ill. They're and what's sad is that some of them have a bunch of babies, and it's like, okay, if this dude's retarded, chances are the chick he's with is retarded. The babies are retarded. Right. That's how that goes. They ain't what? They ain't never met a functioning retard. Oh, now YouTube want to hate on me and try to chop me up. Nah, 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 nah. I said what I said. Right. And people being led by individuals who can't even process a full thought. I'm just saying, how is that not the case? If you've got umpteen children, look at all, come on, all look a little slow, and they want me and you to believe that they're not slow. You got to be slow in order for that to be the case. Right. All the pictures I ever showed of my son does not look like baby Trig in the face. No disrespect to Sarah Palin or her daughter's baby. Whoever bore that YouTube hate on me. It's okay. I'll let it catch up. But the point, they're mad because what I'm saying is real. And what I'm saying is true. That's what they're mad about. They're mad about it. They're hot about it. Be mad. Be big mad. It doesn't change what I just said. Right on. I'm watching the screen freeze up and go crazy over here. I'm like, I don't know what it looks like to y'all, but it's okay. Because I know for a fact what I said is true. Right. They got everybody Kansas City shuffled out. Everybody's like looking for this one thing. Like, so black people are looking for reparations, not recognizing that, hey, before you even get these reparations, these dollars that you're going to get them in are going to be completely worthless. We'll give you those any day of the week. Just for them to say that we reparated you. How would you feel then? Would you feel like geniuses then? Would you feel like, oh, that's activism then? Yeah, I put this video down as a nonprofit slash activism, right? Because everything I've done has pretty much been that. I had been putting education up until a certain point. Didn't realize that they had that new one. It's been a while, but I had never seen that nonprofit slash activism. That's some new stuff. I said, oh yeah, I'll put that on all my videos now. All my videos gonna have the nonprofit slash activism on it. Well, in the actual description of what it is. So when people put it into the category what they're looking for, they can look for it like that. No more education. Right on. I'm my old videos are educating people because I'm telling them things that so-called society has agreed on to believe that this is what it is. At this point, I'm an activist, the protagonist. I'm all that. You know, if they want me to be the antagonist, I'll be the antagonist. I don't care. I'm in it, but I'm not in it just to play. I'm in to win. When I do anything, I'm looking to win. I'm looking to be victorious. Okay? Only time I don't look to win is when I'm looking to learn. After I've learned enough, I want to be the best that I can be at this. If my best version is better than your best version, or your best version is better than my best version, so be it. I don't care. I'm just going to do what I can do. Does that make sense? That's just like I'll give y'all an example when I was at work. This is not Kansas City Shuffle. This is just straight up me talking about something else different. I'm at work a couple days ago, right? And there's an individual I work with. He's kind of older, so certain things he doesn't perceive it in his mind, like, yo, you got to do this differently. Like, we got to clean up as we go. We got to stay on top of it. We can't just let it build up and fester till the end of the night. That's not professional. Word, right? So since I've been there, it's been slowly but surely, he been working his way into cleaning up stuff more and more and more. How I do things is not how somebody else is going to do it. I don't expect them to do that. I made my own little tartar sauce the other day, right? And I like it. It's bomb. To me, it's bomb. Uh, uh, Everybody in the restaurant who has some of it liked it. It's I'm different like that. I do what I have to do. Do I expect my coworkers to follow suit when I make the nachos that I want to make, or do the burgers, or do the salads? Whatever I feel is different. However I want to cook, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't expect them to do what I do. I just expect them to see that this is what I'm capable of, and this is what I can deliver. All you have to do is do the best that you can do and deliver that. That's it. Once again, my expectation from YouTube is for them to let me to put up what I'm saying and to not try to shut me down. Okay? That's it. That's my only expectation. They can shut me out of the big picture, but people gonna come here and check me out anyway. That's the facts. Individuals get mad about certain things, let them be mad. They can be big mad. I'll tell them to their face. The same way I feel about these things, I will say to their faces. But if I didn't say your name while I said something, don't assume I'm talking about you. Because if I'm talking about them, I'm talking about you guys know how I get down. I don't mind name dropping somebody. I do not care. Word. Their name won't be in the title, so it don't matter. I'm not an attention whore. Okay? I don't put nobody's names in my titles as far as like actual YouTubers. I might have put a victim of something. If I talked about Dejon Kizzy, because he was murdered. He was failed in the streets by murderous sheriff's deputies. If I talk about Tatiana Jefferson, it's because she was murdered because of a cowardice neighbor whom she may or may not have had some sort of intimate relationship with. When I talk about sisters like Breonna Taylor, it's because of dudes who are built like Squidward, who have no backbone, named Kenneth Walker, fire a warning shot, as opposed to completely emptying his entire magazine and being taken to jail like a real gangster would have done. I'm going to fire this whole thing, and I hope to God I don't kill nobody who ain't supposed to be killing. Right. Nope. Treat, never keep no was not on his mind. He was just shoot first and duck like a bastard. His words, not mine. He was scared to death. His words, not mine. Having said that, when I talk about, and mind you, I deleted the videos about Breonna Taylor because they were so spicy, meet the balls, okay, that even cats like Benjamin Crump were like literally things I had literally said in those videos were what they used to get the cops indicted and all that stuff. Listen, it's deep. It's deep. I did that. I know I did that. Okay? I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying it so that way people understand, like, I've done way more things. I've spoke on way more things. And I've helped way more good happen than people can actually understand. And more than they're going to give me credit for. Because they're going to say, well, that could have happened with anybody. But it didn't happen with just anybody. Before I get up out of here, there's a link at the very top of this. I'm going to copy the link right now. And I want everybody to when they get a chance, man, you got to go check this old YouTube video out of mine. It's an old one. It's only got like, it's only got like a couple of views on it, but I'm not worried about none of that. Just bless the video by watching it and by seeing how far ahead I was. This is 2016. The video is made in November 2016. No, bro. What I'm speaking is We all know it. Right on? We all know it. All of us know it. That video, though, 2016 November, family, it's a video where I talk about Pan-Africanism, like outwardly for the first time. It's a blessed piece because whether people have seen it or not, it's aged so well. A lot of these black YouTubers went from supporting Africa like brothers and sisters to, oh, now it's homegrown American black people versus everybody else. But I was the first one to kind of just point out like how we're all not even the same and how we should look at it like that and not get carried away, but embrace that we're different. Now here we are years later, and it's a known thing. Black people talk about, oh, I'm indigenous, I'm aboriginal. I'm not talking about brothers like what's his name? What is that brother's name, man? He's the one who be talking about the aboriginals for real, man. What is that brother's name? It is not coming to me right now. And he's really popular too. And he's the one who says he's the one who says that we're all aboriginals. What is the brother's name, man? He's a little thick. He be growing his beard out. Dane Calloway. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Yeah. And look, I was looking down. I swear to God, sister, I had not looked up until I had said it in my head. Right on. I promise to God I did not look at the screen just then. But yes, brother Dane, this dude, he's a funny character because he'll deny that the slave trade even happened the way that it did. Right? Like he'll be like, "Oh no, we were all already here." My bad. I can't help it. But no, this is real life, y'all. Even brothers like him tailored what he was saying after he got a little whiff. These dudes don't even get a whole taste. They get a little whiff of what I be saying. Okay? And just a small whiff, and that's it. They be on it. They be like, oh yeah, I got to take that. I'm taking that. That's too hot to leave. No, we're not throwing that out. We're not throwing none of this out. All this shit, we're gonna let it age. We're gonna cure that. Okay, we're gonna blend that and put some vinegar on that and put that in the jar. Okay, no. Boil the jar, so that way this joker's airtight. We need that to be preserved the right way. Okay, we're using that pickle and salt and everything. Bro, we going in, right? They're saving everything I didn't put out there. But they use it so differently than how I was like intending them to use it. I thought that they would eventually say, like, okay, how about we try the most high God? We have nothing left to lose. See, they throw out white Jesus out there, but they don't say the most high God. See, they're careful about their words. And that's how I know that they're using deception. Kansas City Shuffle. That's how I know that they're Kansas City shuffling the people. They'll say white Jesus has done nothing for you. Then they'll give you an alternative God. What's popping, brother Brandon? What's up? But and they give you this alternative God to believe in or to pray to. But the problem with that is that they've never said, let's try the God of Moses, right? Who didn't even give himself a name. So you can't say, oh, it's Jesus. His God is Jesus. You can't say that. No, you can't say that. That's impossible. What you can say is this, is that you believe that one of the individuals he was dealing with, the angel of God, the angel of the Lord, you believe that they may have been Jeshua, the Messiah, the Christ himself, the anointed one, the chosen one himself. Okay, that's fair. But even if that's the case, have they ever told y'all, let's try the Most High God? See, you can't do him or not do him. You can try the Most High God. You can't do or don't the Most High God. You either do or don't believe in him, surely, but you have to try him in order for him to be your God. Right. So when you're talking about what they've tried and what they haven't tried, what they've attempted and what they haven't attempted, this is a stark contrast. All they've done is criticize black people for not knowing that they come from a certain lineage. I don't criticize black people for that. I criticize black people for not doing the right thing when they know they should. There's a big difference. You got guys like Lex Will who will still tell you the Bible took place over here in America. So why are niggas here and why is America greater than all the other places? Huh? Why are Afro people, semi-Afro and Afro people here, built up this land? Why are they here and not everywhere else doing the same thing? Even though there's people who look just like us in these places, even though there's people who had access to similar resources just like us in other places. Why not? Why didn't the sons of Japheth down there in the Solomon Islands build up great cities before they were ever discovered? Why not? Why did the sons of Kem or Kam build up great, great, great cities all throughout the land of Kemet before the children of Israel arrived? No. Why didn't the other children of Sem build great cities after the removal of the children of Israel? No. Why not just the other sons of Eber then? If you want to get, whittle it down some. That not small enough for you? Okay, what about all the sons of the man that you consider Abraham? Like the Ishmaelites and the Assyrians. What about them? Huh? And the Edomites. Why haven't they done what your people done? My hands are up, but my right hand to God, I promise you. My right hand all the way to God, I promise you. They can't tell you why because they don't know why, but I know why. Because they're not us. The divine wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that was given to a specific group of people in a specific tribe that they may accomplish tasks not undertaken before them. That the thing that they were doing at that time was a new thing under the sun. Because the man who said that there is no new thing under the sun did not himself help to build the kingdom of Israel, nor did he help to conquer it or the individuals who were the inhabitants of the land originally when they had first went into the land, crossing the river Jordan. So we must take into account when these things are said and when they're put forth that they're not taken out of context. Because if they're taken out of context, then people don't understand what it is that's actually happening. They've never tried the God that gave the people the land, that delivered up to them gigantic beings in those lands. They've never tried that God. They never said, hey, we want you to help us. We want your assistance. We want your guidance. We want you to do it for us. Show us your way. They've never done that. They've never asked for that. That's not been their intent. Right. Their intent has been, let us save ourselves, i.e., every man doing that which is right in his own eyes. That is a Kansas City shuffle in itself. To do that which is right in your own eyes means that you are conning yourself, even though the larger con may surprise you. Mm. They tell you, oh, my grandma, my granddaddy, they lived to be 100 years old eating hog, eating lard. Okay, was those hogs contaminated with nuclear waste from the last 70 years, 80 years? Oh, no? Interesting. Interesting. Do you think that hogs that were nuclear radiated because of waste from all these factories and all these industries that are around, do you think that they may have actually shortened the life of your loved one and not increased it? Once again, interesting. Think about what I'm saying, y'all. They would want you to believe something because only merely because they said it. I don't want you to believe what I said because I said it. I want you to be, as I've always said, I want you to be objective to the information. Go and search out the truth for yourself. But when you find the truth that is more aligned to what I have said than what I have not said, don't be angry with me because you used your time to do that. As opposed to just saying, you know what? I have never tried this form of worship for the Most High God. I've never tried it. I've never attempted it. Does that dawn on anybody? And I got to get ready to go. I got to go in a little bit. I don't have to go right now, but I got to go. I don't have to go, I guess. I just want to just be done because I feel like I've said what needs to be said, but there may be a gem coming if I just keep going. So I got to just see what's going to fall out of my mind into words that may manifest, that I may learn something. Right. Not just from myself, but from dealing with you and from wanting to conceive a thought that is worthy of the people's attention. I know that many of the things that I have said and that I will say will go unnoticed, but the magnitude of what I have said will not change. It is the same as if it was spoken to a million people, if only one heard it. Because they're able to use that information in ways that people could never even understand. Brother Stephen Jackson, apple of Yah's eye, as he says, apple of the Most High's eye. He says that he was at work and he dealt with an individual who was talking about mathematics. And that Stephen said that he introduced to him the basic model of the equation of 360 degrees and 364 degrees and how it related to the days of the earth. And he said that the individual was totally, their mind was totally blown. And it messed up everything that they had understood about mathematics up until that point. I am that individual. I am he. I told Stephen he had to show this guy who I am because I don't need people to understand me. I'm not looking for them to understand me as a person. I want them to understand what I'm saying. Do they understand what I'm saying as me, not understand me as the whole individual? My words, do they comprehend the words? Ooh, I've done a lot in a short period of time. I've watched the world change on different couches now. This is the new futon. It's pretty nice. I like it. I've watched the world change. Piff and chronic and drink with y'all. I'm never gonna change. I may get older, may cut my hair because it gets thin. Never gonna change. I don't care. I'm gonna be me. That's all I can be. I don't got no Kansas City shuffle left in me. What con man? Well, I told y'all once again. There's no con. Oh, the job was coming, sister. A man who's worked literally from 2019 till now. I worked, had like 5 different jobs last year. I had like a couple of little small gigs in 2020. I had a bunch of jobs in 2019. This is my second job this year. By merit though. I'm gonna go get it. That's just what I do. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I'm gonna say it like this without being, crazy about it. Because I listen to a whole range of music, Just because Nipsey said he would never work for a white cracker, right, doesn't mean he didn't work for one. Because let me put it to you like this: if you sell dope, if you sell drugs to black people, and that's a video that I got upcoming that I ain't been talking about. I just been working on the information because I want to present information and I want to show people how much money these niggas have been making for the federal government off the books. Because under the table employees still get paid money. And a drug dealer is an under the table uh, employee for the federal government, no matter what. Doesn't matter if it's a black book, right? If it's a black ops, if it's a gray op, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a psy op, okay, it doesn't matter. All right. Because if the people concur to engage in a certain activity, they are guilty. So if you sell dope to your own people and say, I'm selling drugs to y'all because I want to, think about this. I'm selling cocaine or crack or heroin or DMT or whatever, right? Ecstasy pills. I'm selling whatever to you. Some weed. If you want to put the chronic on the list, come on, let's do it. The problem is this. You became an unlisted agent for the government, number one, because you know who other dealers are, right? They know who every drug dealer already is. This is what I'm trying to say. These guys are all under the table. Word? What employer has somebody working for them under the table and doesn't know that they're working under the table? Right. They all know. The government knows who every drug dealer is already. If you've sold a certain amount of drugs, they know who you are. Right. So you can't sell dope to your own people and think you beat the system. It's impossible. Do y'all understand what I'm trying to say right now? It's literally impossible to sell dope and beat the system. You can't have done that. It's one of those things where, like, for example, that's like trying to say like a female's a prostitute, right? And then trying to say she's an honorable woman. Like the two things don't go together. You feel me? You're a whore, is what you are. You know, and a real woman is what you wish you could be. A real man is what a drug dealer wishes he could be. You can never be a real man. Word. I don't give a fuck how many holes he digs, how many holes he drills, how many wires he runs. He's not a real man. Word. Because his his overall lifestyle depends on the suffering of someone else. He's a parasite. No matter how hard he seems to work. It's a parasite. They don't want to hear that. And they're under the table agents. They are off the book agents for the federal government, for the local governments. Right. Because as a drug dealer, they know who other drug dealers are. So their potential to turn and to become a spy, which is what informants are. Informants are spies. I didn't even think we was going to get this deep into this shit, but now that I'm talking about it, like let's talk about it real quick. Informants are spies. Word. And a spy does what? They gather information and they speak on it. So even if these dudes are like, okay, I didn't say nothing, right? The fact that they have you on phone doesn't matter if that's a legal wire. They got the information, bro. They heard you say it. This is the difference between somebody who lives in the real and somebody who lives in the fake. The real says, we got you. Word? So it doesn't matter. You're guilty already because you already said you did it. It doesn't matter that the wire is illegitimate. You've already confessed to your crime and to your sin. Yes, you have. See, and this is the difference. and between understanding that these under the table employees, their lifestyle doesn't require for them to be loyal, right on? Because the supplier or the distributor, right? The distributor is the plug, AKA the middleman, right? They might be a low level or high level middleman, but they're still a middleman. And so what happens is that you have these cases where people will, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like because they're so far into the game, right? They won't be exposed. But they're still no different than any other employee who works for the federal government. They're no different than anybody else. They're not. See, when they say taxes, it's do you pay money just to work? Because that's what taxes are. You have to pay us the fact that you're able to make money and know you can make money and know that everybody has to obey and honor that system in this land. You have to pay us for that because we created that, is what they're saying. Where that's the real means for taxes. Okay. It's not what people think it's for. Once again, that's a Kansas City shuffle. You think you're being conned because they're saying, oh, it's to pay for the roads and this and that. No, nigga, you're paying for the fact that we provide an environment that you actually are able to go and buy a bed and somebody doesn't roll up on you with the AK-47 and shoot your ass in half and take your shit. Like, fuck you, nigga, we taking that. Right. So you get taxed for that. This is why they have their own armed forces to go against individuals who would do such a thing as cut someone in half, okay, and then take their belongings. Yes, this is why you pay taxes. That's the Kansas City shuffle. If they told you that, would you want to pay taxes or would you want to actually protect yourself and run that gauntlet? Ah, it's deep, isn't it? See, people be mad about it, but they don't be understanding. You don't, you're not in this situation because you put yourself here. Right on? You didn't choose to be born in so called America. All right? So you didn't put yourself here. But what you can do is you can choose where everybody else after you, who you care about, is going to be placed. So if you choose to be a rogue agent and work under the table for the federal government, you have to take those consequences. And then you have to be able to say that, you know what? I'm worse than any sellout, Uncle Tom, or snitch there ever was. You have to be. Nubly was popping, bro. But I'm really saying that, y'all, to tell the truth. Ain't no Pablo Escobar's listening to me. So I don't have to worry about that. But there's individuals out there who, when they have thousands of people listening to them, you guys are thinking that all those are just people who just go to work every day. You're lying to yourself. Some of those folks do very dishonest things every day. And they justify their dishonesty by saying that I refuse to work for the man, but yet you indeed work for him. Because if they take this is how they get paid on both ends of this shit. This is deep. So when they pump the drugs into your neighborhoods on some black ops, psyops, right, dark ops, right, and they don't want nobody to know where it came from, that's what they do to you. Boom. And you'll never know, right? Because the drug dealer's going to sell the drugs. He's going to keep re-upping through the man. The man is going to keep paying the CIA agent dude or the DEA agent dude. The DEA agent guy is going to keep going back to the senator who's going to keep lining his pocket. This same senator is going to go back to the president and line their pockets. This shit happens so much that they all keep getting paid. What I just said right there was hella dangerous, but I had to say it. Okay, that's how it works. So when you have that situation and you have that dynamic, you have to pay attention to who's getting paid. Okay, right on. That's the truth. Who's getting paid is what matters the most at that point. So now we're talking about So this nigga's hood rich because he got 50 racks saved. Fuck it. He got 300 bands saved off of selling dope. Don't nobody know. Right? He's balling. But the way he lives is fairly modest. He got a nice little car, but he got a job on the side. He got a nice little job where, you know what I'm saying? A dude that he was selling dope to got him hooked up at the job that he works at, right? So now he's making some legit money on the side, and people can't say all his money is dirty. And he's actually pretty good at the job that he does. But he sells dope to make money. See, this is what niggas don't understand, man. I can't say too much. I can only say enough. But these dudes are under the table agents for the government. It's a fact. It's not fiction. What I just said right now is some of the most real shit y'all have ever heard somebody ever say in your whole lives. I know for a fact it is, because ain't nobody gonna say it like that. They don't say it like that. Right on? They'll just tell you that selling dope, right, to be a dope pusher, you're a sellout just like the other dudes, but they don't understand to the degree that these guys are selling out. And they don't understand whose pockets that they're lining. This movie, Deep Cover, I want to say it's called, with Lawrence Fishburne. And the whole premise of the movie is pretty much that he ends up becoming an undercover officer, and he's able to go and figure out that, man, we're supplying these politicians down here in South America, if you want to call it Central America, we're giving them the money to run. It is obvious, brother. If you've been thinking that, and I've been thinking it, we're not the only ones to think it. Okay? It's been thumped, but I'm gonna say it. Today it has to be said. Whether or not the whoever gets it, it doesn't matter. You now know that it's not just you. It's not just you, brother. That's a thought that is in the minds of many of us. The righteous are like, these guys work for the government, and they don't even understand that they work for the government. They're the worst. They're the ones who have to go the most. It's the saddest thing to say, but they're the ones who have to die the most, because they're the ones who are going to want to continue to break and buck against the system. Let me give y'all some gangster. Oh man, I'm about to break some shit in half. This is why I stayed on. Okay, to deliver a death blow. There is no such thing as on code. It can't be. There's no why. Want to know why? Want to know why? Because there's a book called the Bible that has laws, right? That has ordinances, that has statutes that these people didn't keep or adhere to, that are way more righteous than any of the tenets that these individuals will introduce to the people. How can there be a code if the people won't keep the law? Can you hear me? It's impossible. It's fake. It's Kansas City Shuffle. That's the Kansas City Shuffle for you, though. They don't want you to look to the real thing. That's the real code for you to keep. The real code you should be on. So that way you can live the longest life, live the best life, live the greatest life, and praise the only real God that there is. Nope, they don't want you to do that. They want you to do what? They want you to get on their code. So that way they can create their religion. And so that way they can be seen as the gods of that religion. It's deep. Oh, these niggas is trying to self-deify while they're alive. Okay. We read about it in the Bible, though. These wouldn't be the first guys to call themselves gods and kings. They're nothing new. These niggas are a rehash of what we read about if you read the scripture. They're the same individuals, born in different bodies in a different land. They are the strangers within you that are high above you. Come on, man, it's deep. How can his people be locked away in prisons unrighteously if those aren't his people who are actually his people in those prisons? No duh. But see, they don't even look at it like that. See, what's crazy is this. The Bible says not to perjure yourself, right? Not to lie on yourself, right? So, how many of these guys lied on themselves and said that these niggas would be like, hey, bro, say that, tell them that it's your dope. Tell them that it's your gun. Cooked right now to this very day. The same evil, wicked ass niggas I'm talking about are walking around free on the streets, done pump baby into their sisters, into their cousins, into these men's wives, to these men's daughters. Talking about nigga, and a dirty bastard to fix their lips to say, that's just the way the game goes. That's just the way the game is played, player. Who the fuck, man, if somebody don't get this nigga away from me type of shit. See, but that's the thing that we have to deal with as a people. This on code talk is fake. It doesn't exist. Do you follow the laws of Moses or not? That's it. That's all. That's all that exists. That's all that's real. I'm the one to say it. I'm going to push back on them. Because ain't nobody else going to push back because everybody else is afraid to say it because they're like, these guys are popular. They have all these subs. You think I give a fuck about that? If they want to get beat up in real life, nigga, they know where to find me at, and I will put these hands on them. Okay? If they want to get if they want to get rock'em sock'em in real life, they know where to find me at. I'm not a stranger to the danger. 0%. They can be mad about it because I'm fighting a tidal wave, a mound of dirt versus the tidal wave. Guess who wins? Type of situation. You know what I mean? Like that's how it's like. And it's not versus them, it's just a whole atmosphere that I'm trying to go up against. It's like a tidal wave that's, white rhino status to like a mound of like, we're talking about the best soil, the best dirt you can find though. You can grow righteous anything in this soil, but it's a small mound of it. It's not a big mound of it, but it's, we'll see what happens. Is it all going to be washed away or will there be some left? Hmm? Or will this mound of dirt tune into the frequency that the water is and the water bypass it altogether? But the mound of dirt don't want that. It wants to stop the wave. How can it stop the wave? What can it do? How can it reposition itself to just mitigate all the force of this wave so that way the destruction of it won't get to all the people? That's what it's like. Because I know I can't save everybody, but if I can help save one person that actually lives, that would be the bomb. That would be righteous based on something that the most high God that I know is a living God, is the living God. But he lives. He's not idle, he's not a statue, he's realer than me and you. He is all the frequencies that anyone could ever think of, more than combined, amplified, quantified, whatever you want to say. Right on? Reverberated, transverberated, intraverberated, all those things. He's all that. He's the greatest. And I need people to understand that. He's not a working brain. He's a righteous living God. And you have individuals who live amongst you as the devil and would tell you that they're just working to make a living and would ruin your family, kill off your bloodline. They would murder you in your sleep to justify that they made some money. That you would no longer be living just for the fact that they could make money. That is a sad thing. It is a terrible thing. I'm getting ready to sign off. It has been a blessing and an adventure once again just to speak to y'all because I've covered so many different little things and I've tried to not get outside of my mind, but at the same time try to expound like I do expound. Like I said, To begin with, Kansas City Shuffle is a con or a deception or trickery wherein which one seeks to deceive the mark, right? And the mark is to believe or to realize that there's a con. But they play into trying to stop what they believe is the con, not realizing their actions actually set them up for the real deception and the real trickery. So if you believe that the revelations is going to happen, then there's no way that you could believe that the book of Isaiah, I guess Isaiah, everything already happened. Daniel already happened. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Zephaniah, Hosea, Zechariah, Amos, right? They've all already took place. They already happened. So I guess we're just waiting on the book of Revelations then, if that's the case. If that's not the Kansas City Shuffle, I don't know what it is. Oh, just for those who thought that it wouldn't get crazier, China said, we're going to support Russia. Like I told y'all, Taiwan next if they try to act up and flex. It's going to go all the way there. Are y'all ready? Are you ready to are, are you ready to be doing your daily life and something catastrophic happen where you possibly don't make it? Have you prepared yourself spiritually for that? You know what I'm saying? Have you actually prepared your soul for that? Has it even pondered your mind? Or have you pondered it in your mind, I should say? Still, that much said, I bless you for listening to me for all this time. Nothing I've said is completely right or completely wrong. It is just my vision of seeing it. The drug dealers may call themselves freedom fighters and rebels, but they are nothing more than heathens and Gentiles and the wicked of the people who have brought us to a very low state. Because they have not been altruistic nor self suffering, we are in this position now. When you realize that they are the problem, we will indeed be set free. Will you not only pray for the destruction of your obvious enemies, but the enemies within you? Or will you allow those within you, the stranger within you, that is high above you, to destroy you, that there be not one left of you? Is that your plan? I would like to know because in the end of it all, when you play your hand and you do what must be done, I don't want you to fall for the Kansas City Shuffle. I salute you. May tomorrow be better than today, and may your next week be better than your last. I speak life, integrity, dignity, and honor upon my people.